We are live. Welcome back to another stream, everyone. FPL's literally just launched, so we're jumping straight in to an improv stream to start drafting our teams, see how the rest of the players cost, and any other changes. So I haven't even looked at the players yet, if there's any potential changes or not. I heard rumours that they might make changes for the World Cup, so we'll see. So yeah, FPL's back. It's been a long time. Must have been about 5-6 weeks since the last stream, so good to be back. But yeah, if you missed it, FPL is out. Just launched. So go make your team now and get a good ID. What ID did everyone get? My ID is... How do you check your ID? I think you go to... is it Leagues and Cups? No. Transfers? No. Pick Team? So you go to Pick Team and then you go to Gameweek History. And then at the top it will give you your ID. So mine is 152. What ID did you guys get? Roland, welcome to the club. Thank you for becoming an fplfocal member. Appreciate that. First one of the season. Thank you, Roland. If anyone's interested, the members get early access to my videos throughout the season. Costs a couple of quid a month. And some other goodies like a badge by your name and whatnot. So thanks for that, Roland. Welcome to the stream, everyone. So where do we even start? Has there been any changes for the new season? Any chips or anything like that? Andy Capella got exactly 10k for his ID. Are you joking? Well played. Melonix got 8998. FPL Mickey Mars got 369. Melvin got 1593. Some good IDs here. Well played. And yeah, this season IDs do actually affect your rank as well. So they did. I actually noticed an article they posted about a week ago. I was going to tweet about it and then the game started updating, but they posted an article about a week ago on the FPL site, and it basically said that ID will affect your rank this season. If you have the same number of transfers as another manager, then the tiebreaker is your ID. And obviously they have like weekly and monthly prizes in FPL, so for that, the tiebreaker is just ID. They don't even factor in transfers made. So yeah, a low ID is good. So there you go. I've got Richarlison as my default captain. This was my auto-filled team. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad at all, does it? Reece James on the bench. How much is Jesus? 8 mil. Jesus is 8 mil. Where did I finish last year? 17k last season. It was a really disappointing second half to last season, because obviously last season I spent 10 weeks in the top 2 and then properly choked it, and so much went wrong, like triple captain Salah when he got like 3 points in the double game week. But we move on from last season, but it was one to remember because you know, got to spend a couple of game weeks #1 in the world, so I don't think I'll ever top that or come even close, but hopefully one of you in chat will be next. So yeah, welcome to the stream, everyone. Do hit like on the stream if you're enjoying it, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Get involved, get your questions in the chat. Matrix says, is it live on the app? I would have thought so, unless they have to roll out another update in the App Store. Let me check my app. When I refresh in the app, there's nothing, so maybe the app's not updated. So maybe just go to the website and do it that way instead. V says Richarlison is banned, bro. Yeah, good point. This is just my auto-fill team, so I haven't actually even started picking a team yet. What we'll do, we'll build a couple of drafts, because I think there's perhaps 3 standout ways I think you can approach Game Week 1. I think the first one's just a nicely rounded team, you know, premium defense, a couple of premium attackers. I think you can do a draft that's full-out premium defense, so like a back 5 with, you know, like Trent, Robbo, James, Chilwell, and those guys. And then I think it's possible to do a 3 premium draft as well. So we'll have a go at making a few drafts on this stream. So welcome to the stream, everyone. Max, thank you for renewing the membership for 8 months. I didn't know it would carry it across, because obviously I cancelled all memberships last season when the season finished. So I'm glad that it keeps the count going. I didn't know that. He says, hey Oscar, I also completed my team thinking it would let me make transfers. Now I can't make my team. Are you joking? I seem to be okay making mine, or is the website down? So what other players will we be waiting on? Matip is 6 mil, interesting. Rafinha 7 mil, but I suppose he's on his way out, probably to Barcelona. Imari says, hello Oscar, there's an extra wild card for the World Cup. There's an extra wild card, okay. How does that work? You have to use it before? That's massive. When's the World Cup? World Cup. Is it Game Week 8 or 9, I think? Let's see if we can find... I think Holly Shan made a really good graphic for the schedule this season. Let's see if we can find that. I think she broke it down quite nicely in terms of competitions and what's going to be going on and whatnot. Here it is. Let me just grab this and I'll pull it up on screen. Hopefully you can see it okay in the stream. So what was it? It was Game Week 3. We got the playoffs, League Cup, Game Week 5 or 6, international break. So when's the World Cup? Is it here? It must be here. No, that's September. Oh, maybe it doesn't fit on this one. Is it just after? It's December, isn't it? The World Cup. Anyone know what game week the World Cup is and when we have to use the World Cup by and how it works? Flandy, thank you for becoming an fplfocal member as well. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Flandy. Flandy quickly becoming a household name in the fplfocal Discord. If anyone's not in the fplfocal Discord, I'll chuck the link in chat. We're closing in on 9k members. So, yeah, there you go. There's the link if you want to join. We'll make a few drafts imminently. Get your questions in. If anyone knows how the wildcards work, let me know. I suppose the way it works, if it's an extra wildcard, is you have to use it before the World Cup. So is it 3 wildcards? Robert says, where do I find my ID? If you go to home and then go to Game Week history. World Cups between Game Week 16 and 17. Okay, interesting. Hashtag ban Vijay Gav. Okay, interesting. I'll have to read up more on how the extra wildcard works. Unless that's a troll. But anyway, maybe we'll have a crack at doing a few drafts. How exciting. It's like Christmas Day for adults, this, isn't it? And it fits perfectly right in the middle of the year before actual Christmas. The elf says, is Watkins a good bargain? Was he 7.5? I'm trying to remember how much he was now. Again, there's a real lack of mid-price forwards, I would say. I might put Wilson just ahead of Watkins for 7.5. Not a bad price, and the fixtures aren't too bad either. The opening 4 I like, and then obviously you can move Watkins on to someone else down here, as I'm sure there'll be another forward by then. How do I check my ID? Go to home and then go to Game Week history. Renax says, hey Oscar, is it a good idea to triple up on any team? Yes, definitely. It's not a terrible idea. It depends on the team though. I think I'll almost certainly be tripled up on Liverpool. Beyond that, I don't know. I think I'll probably be doubled up. Maybe like double Chelsea, maybe double Arsenal, something like that. Bubble says, sends the bloody email, you twats at FPL. What are you waiting for? Your password reset email? You should just be able to log in straight away. Lukey says, thoughts on Dean Henderson? Is he under Nottingham Forest now? 4.5. It's not a bad price. And the fixtures aren't bad. Game Week 4 and 5 not ideal, but you look longer term, it's not bad. But I think, realistically, what I'm probably going to do... Oh, interesting. Edison's 5.5. I suppose we expected that because Alisson was 5.5 as well. I think I'll almost certainly end up with Mendy or Raya in goal. I think Mendy's just very difficult to look past. You know, a Chelsea keeper for 5 mil. Difficult to look beyond that. Verification email. Oh, okay. I suppose there's so many people signing up right now, Bubbles, that there's a delay to some of the emails going out. Never give up FPL says, hey there, finally, even though it's still a month left. Yeah, it's still early doors, but you know, I couldn't not do a stream for the launch of FPL. We've been waiting for it all day. We've been speculating. I posted a tweet earlier and I said, I wonder if they're waiting for the TV fixtures to drop at 4 o'clock. And then after that, maybe it was a coincidence, but it was just after 4 o'clock that the game started updating. But anyway, here we are. Yeah, you're quite right. We've still got a good month to go. We've got the pre-season, but certainly time to start tinkering. And yeah, as per the Premier League website, a lower ID will equate to a better rank if you are tied with another manager on points and transfers. Raptor in the chat. Ross, how are we doing? The main man himself, he says, is streaming again. I'm starting my stream at 5:30, but I'll chill here till then. Good to have you, Ross. Legend. How was your day? I think you said you had a meeting earlier and you're worried that the game would launch in the middle of the meeting. And lucky for you, the rest of us were busy spamming F5, wasting our time checking if it was out or not, while you were actually doing something productive. Good to have Ross in the stream. So there were rumours that they were changing the base price of players, but it looks like... Oh, it's on Mendy. I thought there was no 4 mil keepers for a sec. Interesting. Forster's for 4 mil. They signed Bazunu, didn't they, as first choice? Oh no, I'm thinking of Southampton. He's placed for Spurs now. So what the Southampton keeper's saying? Bazunu 4.5, McCarthy's 4.5, Caballero. I guess Caballero's going to be third choice, but we'll stick a 4 mil keeper in for now. Jerry in the chat, he says hello from Hong Kong. Welcome. Where's everyone tuned in from for this stream? Shout out to everyone in Hong Kong. It's 4:45 in England at the moment. Skipping dinner. I'll eat after the stream ends. Too excited. Lost my appetite. I did, however, grab a couple of cans of Pepsi Max, so... Cheers. Never give up. FPL says Ross is a legend. He absolutely is. I can't wait to see him at the next Fantasy Football Fest. He says, all good here, mate. Only freshed about 5 times. Probably about 10 times less than me. Maybe 100 less times. Joseph's watching from Ireland. Polat from Uzbekistan. Oxford. Tampa, Florida. Savannah, Georgia. I sympathise for anyone that's in... I wonder if we've got any Aussies or New Zealanders in the chat or not. It's quite late there. Yes, we do. Slithouse in the chat. 1:45 in the morning. Congrats on not missing the launch of FPL and getting a better ID. Adam in the chat as well. Good to see you, Adam. How you doing, mate? Welcome to the stream. Rod says, is Sterling good? I think for 10 mil, it's a no. I think it's way too much. Even for 9 mil, I wouldn't start with him, honestly. Obviously, there's rumours he's being linked with Chelsea, so we'll have to see if that happens or not. Theo's from Bristol. As is St. Lucia. ESR, Ireland, Thailand, Finland, Bangladesh. Thomas, yeah, I think a few people are still waiting for their confirmation emails. So I imagine because there's so many people signing up right now that's probably going to be delaying how quickly those emails go out. So yeah, perhaps that's why you haven't received that yet. So as I said earlier, I think we'll try and do a few drafts here. Maybe we'll start off with like a well-rounded team. And I think Trent's an absolute lock. We'll have to chuck Salah in because he's a lock as well. 2 players I'm undoubtedly going into Gameweek 1 with is Trent and Salah, barring an injury. So Trent 7.5. We'll try and squeeze in a few premium defenders. So we'll go Robertson as well. Chuck him in there. Superstar says, do you have a league? That's a good point. I did actually just create the leagues, but I need to update the description. So let me do that. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, I just renewed the leagues, so I'm yet to update that anywhere. There it is, fplfocal Minileague. Where is it in the description? Did I take it out? I did. Minileague code. Yeah, I'll chuck the Minileague code in the chat so you guys can join the Minileague. Maybe I'll pin it. Minileague code. There we go. Yeah, join the Minileague. That's the fplfocal Minileague code. So if you go on the FPL site, go to leagues and then join private league. That's the code for you there. So, James was actually in my autofill team already, so I'm happy to have him there. Who would go with the 4th? I suppose it has to be Cancelo, right? I think you have to go into Gameweek 1 with a City defender. When you look at the fixtures, it's just such a good run of fixtures all the way to about Gameweek 11. Maybe then you could consider moving one on, but I think you have to go into Gameweek 1 with at least 1 City defender, maybe 2. Yeah, I've done the head-to-head as well, Cruyff. If anyone's on the Discord, go to the Mini League channel for that. I don't have the code to hand, but I did update it before I went live. Metro says, just finished watching the Tour de France and now FPL is back. Hello from Australia. It's 1:46 in the... not in the afternoon, in the morning, you mean. I didn't know Tour de France was on, actually. Flandy says, he sent me a DM on Discord about the wildcards. Thank you, appreciate that. So, one wildcard before the World Cup must be used before the 12th of November. That's my birthday. Unlimited transfers during the World Cup. I wondered if they would do that. Yeah, it makes sense. Because it's a long gap. You know, imagine if we're going to the World Cup and then, you know, 3 of your players get injured. You're just not going to bother coming back if you're a casual player anyway. One wildcard that will be active after December 26th. So early wildcard, unlimited transfers during the World Cup, and then the World Cup. Oh, okay. Got you. So it's not 3 wildcards, it's unlimited transfers. How is your kit's design not the same? I don't know, is it different? I'm 9 mil over budget here. Let me just auto pick a couple of forwards. Oh, it's not going to go. And then I'll do a refresh and see if that updates the kits or not. Yeah, it's the new kits, isn't it? New kits. Joshua says, why not Walker a lot cheaper? Yeah, I believe he's 5 mil, isn't he? Which is a good price, to be fair. The problem is, he's just a rotation risk. If they sign Cucurella especially, then it could be Cucurella and Walker that rotate in the fullback spots. And you imagine Cancelo is going to be pretty nailed and rotating into either fullback spot. That's how I think it will play out. Might be wrong. Obviously, a couple of seasons back, John Stones was 5 mil. And no one really touched him initially, and they ended up being an absolute nailed centre-back. Really consistent points, and even scored like 27 points in a double game week. So, yeah, I'm not ruling Walker out, but right now I think I'll go elsewhere. Diaz, Laporte, or Cancelo. Connor Clogg says, do you think draft mode will work today? Good question. I haven't actually checked out draft. Let's have a look. It just doesn't load at the moment. No, I don't know. I think it's a bit early to do a draft though, because the draft mode, because when they add players, they're not available, right? And I think you get them after Gameweek 1 or something. But yeah, I do really like the draft mode as well. I will be doing one with the Discord gang. Superstar says, I think Rashford's more interesting than Zaha. Yeah, good point. Rashford's a really interesting asset. I think he's got quite a hefty price cut. And obviously, if he establishes himself as first choice on the Ten Hag, then yeah, he's going to be a great pick. Rashford was 6.5 and Sancho 7.5. So yeah, really good prices, to be fair. Good prices. We'll have to see if one of them does establish himself as first choice or not. What do you guys think is going to happen with Ronaldo? Do you think Ronaldo's gone? Where would he even go? Who would pay his wages? I don't think Ronaldo would go to another Premier League team. But yeah, if he leaves, I think it only adds to the appeal of assets like Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Sancho, those guys. Stuart Dallas is the defender again. Is he? He's back. But he's got that really long-term injury, hasn't he? Oh, he's out till November. Good to see him back as a defender, though. Obviously, that season when Leeds came up, he was a 4.5 mil defender. And he absolutely smashed it and then got reclassified as a 5.5 mil mid. Ronaldo's gone, says Joseph. Matty says no chance. Ibrahim says PSG. Imagine Messi and PSG together. I'd absolutely love to see it, I'm not going to lie. Even though they're past their primes now, it'd just be absolutely class to see two of the greatest players of all time playing together in the same team. And I think they do really well together as well. I really do. What ID did everyone get then? I think mine's 152, which isn't bad at all. Mukrila Kumas is 5794. Not bad at all, not bad at all. Yeah, having a good team ID does affect your rank this season, supposedly, according to an article on the Premier League website. So I would say it's gospel. Yeah, if you're tied on points with someone, the tiebreaker is whoever made the least amount of transfers. And beyond that, it's whoever has the better ID. Teo says, what of Haaland? Yeah, Haaland, I think at the moment, he's going to be in my Gameweek 1 draft. I think him and Salah are probably the premium combination that I'll end up with. Haaland and Salah. Good question, though. What premiums are you guys going with? Which combinations of premiums are you guys looking at? Schwarzbart, I think, has got the best ID, 68. Aiden, 133, very nice. We must have registered seconds apart, Aiden. Fred's got 279. Yeah, 68. I think that's the best ID we've got in chat. If you want to check your ID, go to Pick Team and then click Gameweek History. At the moment, there's still only 29,000 managers that are registered, or thereabouts. So what do we do with the rest of this draft then? I quite like the premium back four. It's a little bit expensive. Maybe you have to get rid of one of Trent or Robbo. Who do you think is the better pick for 5 mil, Cash or Trippier? I think both look like good picks for Gameweek 1 for 5 mil. I'd say Cash has got the better fixtures than Trippier, but it depends if you can rotate around Trippier's fixtures or not. Perisic is going to be an interesting one. We'll have to see what happens in pre-season, but I imagine that he'll be playing... he's been classified as a defender, and he will play in left wing-back almost certainly. Wouldn't rule it out of him playing further forward if required in certain games, but yeah, good player for Spurs, good signing. Ahmed's ID is 3. Oh, outrageous. Hugo says, Brennan Johnson for Nottingham could be good. 18 goals and 10 assists. Yeah, how much is Johnson? Is he 6 mil? 5.5 or 6? God, there's so few players of Forest at the moment. Yeah, he's 6 mil. So maybe something like that. And then, surprisingly, Tomiyasu and White are also 4.5. I think both of those are excellent, excellent picks for Gameweek 1. So that leaves us with 23.5 mil for 4 players. I think Barnes probably a no-go. Fixtures are a bit of a mixed bag. I like these home games, Brentford and Southampton, but these away games, Arsenal, Chelsea, and then we don't know what Man United will look like by Gameweek 5. To check your ID, go to Pick Team on the FPL site and then click on Gameweek History. Flun Time says Perisic will be rotated, in my opinion. Yeah, that's my concern as well. They do have, at the moment, Reguilon and Sessegnon that can play in left wing back. So, yeah, I wonder if Perisic will be completely nailed or if he will see some rotation. And obviously this season, they've introduced 5 subs as well for managers. So, could that be a factor or perhaps not? We'll have to see. Anyway, welcome to the stream, everyone. Good to have you all here. FPL's back for the 2022-23 season. Very exciting. Can't wait already. Loads of content to come over the pre-season. I will be covering, in fact, the pre-season itself, players that have performed well and whatnot. So hit subscribe if you're not already, so don't miss out on that. So this is where we are at the moment with this draft. We've got 13.5 mil for the last 5 spots. The 8 mil mids are a really tricky one. I like Saka, I like Diaz, I like Mount. The app's updated, says Vez. There you go. If anyone's having trouble getting on the app, it should be updated now. Yeah, it's just updated for me as well. So the app's working now. Rupanjan, thank you so much for becoming an fplfocal member. Appreciate that very, very much. Thank you for the support. Means a lot. If anyone is interested, members get access to a private channel on the Discord server where I post videos early and I'm chatting in there every day. And of course you get a badge and chat and all sorts of goodies. So thank you for that. Really appreciate the support. The Amico says Saka or Foden. Is Foden 8 mil as well? I think Saka edges it at the moment with the fixtures, but it's difficult. They've actually got Palace away as a green fixture on the FDR. I thought that would end up grey, but they've got Leicester at home as the grey one. Yeah, I mean, it's really good fixtures for Arsenal, so I quite like the Saka pick. Gameweek history should be on the right hand side when you go to pick team. You have to do it on the website though, not the app. On the right hand side it's got your name, and then underneath it's got Gameweek history. Yeah, if you go there and then look in the URL, it's got a number, and that's your team ID. Jay Herbert says, who are you looking at for cheap strikers? Yeah, none really caught my eye when they were doing the price reveals. Johnson maybe for 6 mil. Tony maybe for 7 mil. And Boomer I'm not really keen on for 6 mil. You know, he was a 5.5 mil mid and he didn't really impress. So 6 mil forward, even less so. You know, he gets a point less for goals. So who else? I think Wilson for 7.5 is a good shout. I think he was 7.5. They really missed him when he was out last season, and he is a really explosive asset when he's playing, but he's just so injury prone, that's the thing. Like we saw this season here, even then he only played 2,500 minutes, which is considerably less than the maximum you could potentially play, and he got 168 points there. So yeah, I think he's not a bad shout, Wilson. It's just those Game Week 3 and Game Week 5 fixtures for Newcastle. Same goes for Trippier and the other Newcastle defenders. Raptor has also become an fplfocal member. Thank you so much, Ross. Appreciate that, mate. Appreciate that very much. Thank you for the support. It means a lot. Perisic is at 77% ownership. Is he actually? Let's auto-pick this, and then we'll have a quick look at who the most owned are as it stands. That is mental. I wonder how much Haaland's is. Team selected by 77 owned. That is ridiculous. Alonso, I think a lot of these are going to be skewed by auto picks because Alonso's just, there's no way. Rafinha's the most owned mid. Haaland's 29.5. I mean, Richarlison, it's just auto picks at the moment. Everyone's spamming auto click, aren't they? To get their ID. To get through the door, beat the crowd. Raptor says official Oscar fanboy now. Stop it. I'm a Raptor fanboy. Me and Ross have got something big planned for Fantasy Football Fest. I can't reveal anything yet because it's still a work in progress, but we are hoping to collab on something big at the Fantasy Football Fest, so keep your eyes up for that. More details to follow. Can you still see that if I zoom in? It's a bit better, isn't it? Right, where did we get to? So I'm trying to do like a well-rounded draft here. So we've got Trent, Cancelo, James. We've got Salah in midfield, Saka, Haaland. Who do you guys like more out of Diaz and Mount? I think they're both 8 mil. We'll chuck Diaz in there. What Chelsea's fixtures like? I mean, Chelsea's fixtures are just unbelievable for the first half of the season and beyond. Yeah, crazy. I mean, to be fair, they've got Tottenham, Man United and Arsenal as great fixtures. I don't know if I would completely agree with that. Jack says, does Team ID matter? Yeah, I don't know if this is a new thing, but about a week ago, the Premier League posted an article on Team IDs, and it does matter. If you're tied on points with someone, the tiebreaker is transfers made. And if you made the same transfers, then Team ID is the tiebreaker for your rank. And likewise, for the weekly and monthly prizes, the tiebreaker is Team ID. Transfers excluded. I mean, the odds of winning a weekly prize or whatever are pretty low, but yeah, that's the tiebreaker. Saka over Jesus. Now, that's actually a really good question. I hadn't thought of that, but I didn't think Jesus would be 8 mil. So, yeah, it's a really good question because maybe you can make the case for going Jesus to take up a striker spot. Let's chuck Jesus in. I'll take Saka back out. How much have we got? 20.5 mil. So I think the third forward would be a 4.5. Who have we got? Greenwood, Gale, Slim Pickens. I don't think any of these will get minutes, but oh, that's team selected by. We'll chuck Greenwood in there. That's not the Man United Greenwood. And then we've got 16 mil for 3 spots. So what's that? Like a 8 mil? No. 6 mil, 4.5, 4.5. It's a bit of a stretch. Martinelli. Yeah, let's try Martinelli. I think Martinelli was 6 mil. Again, I think he'd be a great asset if he's getting good minutes this season. The problem was last season that he was rotating with Smith Rowe a fair bit down the left wing. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And obviously they've signed Vieira, who I think is probably going to be signed to play through the middle as competition for Odegaard. But yeah, if Martinelli's getting minutes, I think he's an excellent asset. Andreas, thank you so much for becoming an fplfocal member as well. Unbelievable. I think that's 3 already in this stream. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much for that. If anyone's interested, it's the join button below the stream. Or likewise, there's the same tiers on Patreon. If you prefer that or don't want to give Google your money or whatever. Where can I see my ID? Go to Pick Team and then go to Gameweek History. You have to do it on the browser. I don't think you can do it on the app. So we've got 10 mil for the last 2 spots. Martinelli and Jesus or Saka and Johnson. I'll admit I don't know much about Johnson. I know he has a good record. Had a good record in the Championship last season. It was like 16 goals, 10 assists. I'll have to refer to Mark Southerns, who is a lifelong Forest fan, and see what he has to say about Johnson. I recall him saying that he was kind of playing like a wide forward, often in a front 2. So he was wondering whether he'd actually be a forward or not. And he does come in as a forward. But yeah, we'll have to see how he does in pre-season. Raptor says there's so many good 8 mil midfielders. I genuinely think the best structure will be 2 8 mil mids so that you can switch between them. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. You got Luis Diaz, Saka, Mount, maybe even Mahrez. I think Maddison. Yeah, there's loads of players that you can hop to. But the thing is, Jesus does give you an option up top. Do you think Jesus is a good signing? How do you guys think he's going to do at Arsenal? Ollie says Jack Colback is template. I actually haven't even looked at the 4.5 mil mids. I'm relieved that there are 4.5 mil mids because there were murmurs that they were going to be making the base price 5 mil, but none that leap out here, to be honest with you, which is, I suppose, what you expect. Milivojevic, it was only a few seasons back. He was a really good asset. 2018-19. I think something like 11 of these 12 goals were penalties because Zaha just kept winning them and Milivojevic kept burying them. But yeah, he's dropped off and he certainly wasn't in Vieira's first plans last season. Murphy, interesting man. We'll chuck him in for now. I don't think he'll get many minutes, to be honest. Jiwei Heng says, hey fplfocal, welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. Welcome everyone. Are we excited for the new season now? Are we feeling the hype? It's like Christmas Day in the FPL world. So how much have we got left? 5.5 mil. Who are the options among the 5.5 mil mids? Mohammed says no one's looking at Fornals for 5.5 mil. Let's be the first then. Let's have a look at Fornals. I'm trying to remember what his minutes were like last season. Was he rotating with Benrahma a bit, or was it Benrahma through the middle, Fornals down the left? I think it was all 3 of Benrahma, Fornals, Bowen, wasn't it? And Lanzini, I think, was rotating with Benrahma towards the end of last season. Neto. Of course. I saw he's already scored in pre-season as well. So maybe he's a trap. I quite like this draft, actually, I'll be honest. I like this draft. So we'd sub in like that, right? Jesus in for Greenwood. Oh, it's not a bad draft, is it? Captain Salah, vice captain Haaland, save team. What do we think? Just about fits on screen. I like that as a first draft. I like that a lot. It's a really well-rounded team. The bench is a little bit weak. Murphy, I don't know what his minutes are going to look like. Greenwood, even less so. I don't think he'll play much at all. So really, you've just got Tomiyasu to rotate him. But the fixtures are pretty good for Arsenal. You know, he's playable in all of the opening 8 game weeks, to be honest with you. So I don't hate it at all. It's a good first draft. Should we share that one on Twitter? Take a screenshot of that. Boom, there we go. I think we'll post the team on Twitter and see what everyone has to say about the draft. Let's see. First draft. come join. What's the stream link? Yeah, thanks for the heads up on how the World Cup will work, Flandy. We'll talk about that in a second as well, because that's a very interesting change to the mechanics this season. And I did think they would make some kind of change with the World Cup in mind. So unlimited transfers. Where is it? Minileague. Where the hell is the mini... Oh no, not Minileague. YouTube. Can you tell I'm a bit rusty? It's been a while since the last stream. First draft. There we go. So what do we think of the draft? Not bad. FC Cincinnati says light mode, bruh. I know. I don't know why I use light mode. Mate, I think it's because I'm more used to it now. Because on Discord, I use dark mode, and I'm used to that. I think I'm just too habitual. Christian says he can't log in. Hopefully there's no site issues. Let me see if I can get on the transfer page or not. Seems to be alright. Diana says, fplfocal, any prize for getting first in your league? Yeah, I think this season we need to do a prize, don't we? I'll have a think about what it could be. I'm happy to do a cash prize. Is that allowed? A cash prize? I think it's just money leagues that you can't do, right? Where people buy in. Will, any in the chat. How we doing, Will? Welcome back. Will, if you haven't already, go and make your team, mate, because this season, team ID matters, apparently. And it's going to be a tiebreaker for rank. So if you haven't done it already, go and make your team. We're back. Raptor says, what are your goals for the season, Oscar, both for YouTube and FPL? Oh, I love this question. 100k subscribers and top 10k. Yeah, I think those are realistic targets. Last season, to be fair, going into Gameweek 1, I had like 200 subscribers. And then finished the season on about 70k. So I suppose it will slow down now because I've picked up, you know, the engaged portion of the FPL community. But yeah, I think 100k subs. I don't know about rank target. It's getting harder and harder. But I'd say top 10k would be amazing. Talking about 100k subs as a target. We've got Will Ernie in the chat. He's got something like 4 mil at the moment. Should we do another draft then? So that was the first draft. We've posted on Twitter if anyone missed it. What should we do next? Should we do a premium defense draft? Or maybe a 3 premium draft? I think we'll do a premium defense draft. Let's go. We'll take pretty much everyone out except the premium defenders that we got. We'll go with Raya this time in goal. Excuse me. Interestingly, last season, Raya actually beat Mendy just barely for points per game. Obviously, both of them didn't play the full season, so maybe it's slightly skewed. Raya had the injury and Mendy had AFCON. But interestingly, last season, Raya actually scored very slightly more points per game. I think Raya got 4 points per match and Mendy got 3.8. But it was arguably an off-season for Chelsea, so I think that skews it a bit as well. But we'll go with Raya because we're going to try a premium defence draft and we'll see how it comes out. So we'll go Robertson. I think we have to go Chilwell. Chilwell last season scored highest points per game among all players. But obviously the caveat is he only played or started 6 games, and then in game week 38 he played like a single minute. Bashu says, what's your league code? I've pinned it. Minileague code is pinned. I won't read it out because it's just scrambled letters. But yeah, it's pinned, so you can get it there. Alright, we'll go premium defence, big at the back. I mean, just to talk about the defenders for a second, I think they did surprise us with how cheap the defenders are. I thought Trent would be 8.5, 8 at an absolute minimum. And I thought Robbo would be 7.5. Chilwell and James wouldn't have surprised me for 6.5. Cancelo, I think they got dead right. But yeah, the others, very surprising. So we'll go with that. I think this season it is actually doable. You start the back 5 every game week. You never rotate them. And then maybe like a 5-4-1 or a 5-3-2. So we'll try and squeeze in 2 premiums still. We'll go Salah. Do you reckon we can fit in KDB? KDB or Son? Where are you guys leaning in the KDB or Son debate and the Haaland versus Kane debate? Calvin Biles says, design your kit. Yeah, I need to do that. To be honest, it's one of those things, I think last season I didn't even bother doing it because I don't use it anywhere, right? Or is there a new feature where you can choose your kit for actual use in the game? Mosh says, I need a good team name. Any team name suggestions in the chat? Son, you guys think Son over KDB? Even with the fixtures? Have they updated the ticker? Let's have a look. They have indeed. Of course. Yeah, I mean, looking at the ticker, you can't dispute the fixtures for Man City. The problem with Spurs is that they have Chelsea in Gameweek 2. But it's not necessarily a bad fixture. I think Spurs have it in them to upset Chelsea, even at the Bridge. But what I don't like about these huge fixtures so early in the season is they're often cagey games and neither side really go for it. It's kind of just a don't lose scenario that early in the season. So I'm not a huge fan of this Game Week 2 fixture for Son and Kane. So for me, KDB or Haaland just about edge it. There we go. We've got some team name suggestions. What we got? Where Divock is Origi. Love that. Especially now that he's gone. Perry Perisic chicken. 360 no Pope. Love that. That's good. KDB with Haaland. I don't know. Oof. It's a bold double up, KDB and Haaland. Because you're also ruling yourself out against Salah. And I think you absolutely have to have Salah. Gallagher at 6 million seems like an absolute steal. But he's back at Chelsea, is he not? I mean, 6 mil is a great price, but what's his minutes going to look like? I don't think he'll get as many minutes as we'd like. Yeah, if he was starting every game week, then absolutely. Absolute bargain for 6 mil. Zinedine's sedan. Love that. Chicken Ings. More or less. Beer Kalea. Raya Sunshine, that's good. Back of the netto. Vicho says, I cannot access FPL. Hopefully that's not your team name. Can't read that one. Chicken Minga? Mings, you mean? Payne and Diaz, I like that. That's good. Pereira could be good for 4.5 mil if he goes to Fulham. Which Pereira is that? Pereira. Leicester's Pereira? Really? Is that... There must be another Pereira. Surely Pereira's not being linked to Fulham. Where's Pereira? Who's Pereira? Pereira. I'm saying it so many times it's lost meaning. Pereira. It's not even coming up. Where's Leicester's Pereira gone? He was 4.5 mil. Oh, he's under Ricardo. Oh, okay. That's weird. Don't remember him being called that before in the game. Ricardo. Oh, United's Pereira. Of course. Andreas. Bit annoying that you can't search for them by surname. Has to match exactly what they're called in the game. Yeah, Andreas Pereira. Yeah, it's a good point. If he signs for Fulham, you imagine he'll be straight in his first choice. And yeah, as we were saying earlier, the 4.5 mil mids are slim pickings at the moment. There's not really any. I can't see any here, so maybe that's why they brought down some of the price of players like Trent, Robbo, etc. Because now you can't afford a 4.5 mil mid that starts. Maybe one will emerge throughout pre-season. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Maybe a couple. Boom at Shakalaka, that's a good one. Vodka Martinelli, love that. Obi-Wan Iwobi, great names. Obi-Wan Bissaka. Bowen 747, that's so good. That is brilliant. Oh, that's a classic. A, B, C, D, E, F, C. Absolute classic. All right, let's keep moving with this draft. So we've got the premium defense. We've got Salah in midfield. I think we're going to need an enabler like Neto to make this draft work. So we'll chuck him in. Should we try and go De Bruyne? See if that goes. De Bruyne, Salah. Got 27.5 mil. Doesn't look very good. I think we'd have to go one up top though. So who would it be? Maybe Tony. Chuck Tony in. So that leaves us with 20.5 mil. We'll have to go Greenwood. I think it has to be 2 non-playing strikers. That's the problem. Janega, thanks for the donation. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. He says, thoughts on Trippier. Might rotate him with Kovacic. Kovacic? Interesting on Kovacic. I'm not sure how much of an FPL asset he'll be. I think Trippier's a great pick this season. Obviously, they start the season with not the best fixtures. But I think I saw under points per match. Yeah, Trippier, well up there in terms of points per match for the price that he's offering. You know, if you look above, there's players like Tierney and Chalobah. Chalobah, you know, he was really in and out of the side, so you wouldn't want to go there. Tierney, I think he's a great option as well for the same price. But with Arsenal, you've got Tomiyasu and White, so I think Tierney's maybe a no-go with that in mind. So I like Trippier. It's just Game Week 3 and Game Week 5. If you can rotate someone in there, maybe not Kovacic, then I think he's a great option. I'm not sure who rotates well with Newcastle though. Maybe Wolves. Again, we'll have to see how pre-season looks in terms of who's nailed and not. Not Wolves, they got Spurs in Game Week 3. But I like the Wolves fixtures for the opening 6. Again, if you can rotate someone in Game Week 3. Land, that's a good one. My tiptoes. Yeah, I think there's some value in the Wolves defence as well. They weren't too bad last season defensively. It was just an attack they suffered. But yeah, Johnny 4.5, 8 Norrie 4.5. I do like Trippier. Really attacking player. 5 mil's a great price. It's just if you can rotate him in Game Week 3 and 5. Irakanji says, Bruno 10 mil on pens is going to be the steal of the year. You heard it here first. I actually love this shout. So I was thinking the same. If Ronaldo leaves Man United, I love the Bruno pick for 10 mil. FPL is a game riddled with recency bias. And obviously last season, Bruno was terrible in terms of FPL. You know, he started the season at 12 mil. He finished at 11.6, 10 goals, 7 assists. But the season before that, he was phenomenal. I realised a lot of these were penalties, so maybe he won't put up quite the same numbers. But it's this huge price cut to 10 mil that makes him a genuine option again. So yeah, if Ronaldo leaves Man United, I think Bruno's the type of player that thrives, loves to be the main man. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on Bruno. And maybe when we try a 3 premium draft, we'll see if we can squeeze Bruno in, along with 2 other premiums. But yeah, this draft, we're trying to do a premium defence. We've only got 16 mil for 3 spots, so we might have left ourselves a bit too short-changed here. Maybe if we go Haaland instead of De Bruyne, that gives us an extra 0.5. Where do you guys currently sit on the Haaland or KDB debate? KDB obviously Premier League proven. No player got more bonus points last season, 12 mil. Haaland, exciting new toy in the Premier League and on FPL, 11.5 mil, bit cheaper, unproven in the Premier League, but playing for the most attacking or second most attacking side in the league. City never stop creating chances. It's a difficult one, really difficult one between the two. ESR says both. Welcome to the stream, emotion aside, good to see you. It's been a long time since I've seen you in a stream. Jay says Haaland, so does Azza, Albin, Ollie says Haaland, Ryan reckons KDB over Haaland, so does Daniel. Pretty divided in the chat. Before I forget, because I always do, if anyone's not in the fplfocal Discord, I'll chuck a link in the chat now. Really useful FPL resource. We've got things like bonus points, lineups. There's a Rate My Team channel. Yeah, loads of goodies in there. So go join the fplfocal Discord if you're not a member. Links in the chat. And I'll be on there later on once the stream's ended. But we've got loads more drafting to do. Buzzing for this stream. And thank you all for tuning in. We've got 1,277 tuned in already. Unbelievable turnout. If you are enjoying the stream, please do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel. Loads of content to come throughout the pre-season. I did a video every day during the price reveals, which hopefully many of you saw. Ali, thanks for the donation. He says Ortega would be an insane choice if he starts for 4 mil. I'll be honest, I've never heard of Ortega. Who is Ortega? If he starts, Man City. There's no way he starts ahead of Edison. This is their new signing. Did Stefan sign for someone else? I'm sure I saw Stefan being linked with someone else. He's still at City for 4 mil as well. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, it would require an injury to Edison. But yeah, you're right. I'm actually really surprised that they've priced the City backup keepers at 4 mil. Because, yeah, we're one Edison injury away from completely breaking the game. Yeah, good spot. So he was signed as second choice, was he? Stefan must be on his way out, or third choice. Hian Hopua says, reports say that one of the reasons Haaland joined City was so he could rotate, while in Madrid he couldn't. Interesting point. So you're saying that in La Liga, the teams are more demanding, or certainly Madrid are, whereas Pep loves a little bit of rotation. Yeah, interesting theory. I do wonder if he'll get rotated still. Very few players are rotation proof. Stefan Ortega. Not Ariel. Thanks for the donation, Janega, as well. He says, really like Jesus, Tony, and 11.5 mil forward from the start. But probably not good to have so much money up front, but maybe works until the wild card. This is the thing. First impressions are that the values in defence and midfield, again, I think this season, even more so in defence. So that's why we're doing a premium back 5 draft. Because I think there's going to be so much value in the defence. No worries, Raptor. Catch you later. Once my stream ends a bit later, we'll head over your way. I'll be on yours afterwards. Appreciate you tuning in, mate. Yeah, I think this season there's going to be so much value in defence that a back 5 is actually viable. Maybe for the first time ever. I've never ever gone into Gameweek 1 with a back 5, but I don't hate it this season. It's just very tricky to fund the rest of the team. So we've gone from KDB to Haaland, which gives us 23.5 mil. We'll chuck Martinelli back in for now. I think we'll have to go for 2 4.5 mil forwards though. That's the thing. Let's try that. So that gives us 13 mil. Who have we got as far as that 8? I don't think we can afford an 8 mil. No, we can. So we've got 13 mil to spend in midfield. Who would you put in there? Yeah, I like Jesus for 8 mil. Janega. Tony's slightly more than I'd hoped he'd be. The fixtures are pretty good, but with Eriksen at Man United instead, what impact will that have? Has Eriksen been added to Man United or not? Let's have a look. No. But I mean, yeah, there's definite value in the Man United players. In fact, I was looking at a graphic earlier that Holly Shan put together. And like I was saying earlier, I think Bruno Fernandes for 10 mil. If Ronaldo leaves, he could be a great pick. Sancho 7.5 mil. I like that. Rashford 6.5. So we'll have to keep an eye and see how they do in pre-season, how Ten Hag lines up, because it wouldn't surprise me at all if either of those, or maybe both, become locked in first choice in Ten Hag's plans. Maybe Elanga will rotate. But again, 5 mil is such a good price. Oh, I missed a donation, I think. Let me scroll back up. Apologies. Nihal says, thoughts on Kane, Haaland, Ronaldo rotation. I'm going to be going nowhere near Ronaldo. You know, right now he's on indefinite leave from Man United. I think his agent said that he wants to leave for Champions League football, which obviously Man United weren't able to get. So I'm going to be steering well clear of Ronaldo even though he did get a hefty discount. I think he went 12.5 to 10.5. But yeah, I'm not going to be getting Ronaldo. I'm not sure on Kane and Haaland either. I think it's too much to spend up top because it basically prices you out of premium mids. What I can say for certain is I'll be going into Gameweek 1 with Salah, without a doubt. I'm not sure if he's ever even blanked in Gameweek 1 before. And I'll be very confident that he gets on the score sheet again against Fulham as well, which is a really good Gameweek 1 fixture. Darwin or Jesus. I think as far as Liverpool go, I would rate Salah, Trent, Robertson and Diaz ahead of Darwin. So yeah, I think Nunez is probably 5th or 6th choice as far as Liverpool assets. So I wouldn't go there. I'd go Jesus ahead of Darwin all day. So yeah, who can we chuck in here? Let me scroll back up. I think I might have missed some of your answers. Bruno G, Rashford. Yeah, we'll chuck Rashford in for now. I absolutely love Rashford for 6.5 mil. You know, a player isn't dictated by one bad season. We've seen before what a great asset he can be. Look at this 2021 and 1920 seasons where he got 170 odd points. And he cost a lot more then, 8.5 and 9.5. Imagine the value he could offer if he comes and has a good season again. No doubt he had a terrible, terrible season. You know, the issues off the pitch. He was tweeting about, you know, struggles with, you know, hate from fans. But if he can turn it around, have a great season under Ten Hag, he could be one of the picks of the season for 6.5. And that leaves us with another 6.5 mil. So where would we go from there? Bruno G. I'm not sure about Newcastle's fixtures though. Maybe it rotates. Let's have a look. What's he called? Guimaraes? Or what's he called on here? Bruno Guimaraes. So let's try that, see how that looks. That's the second draft. So we'd go Robertson starts over Gale. And you'd basically just got a very weak bench and you've got one player to rotate in. Not ideal though to be benching Bruno in Gameweek 1 for Forest away. Thank you everyone that has tuned in so far. We've got 1,385 in the chat. Appreciate that. Dan Bennett in the chat. He says, Oscar, push the world #1 again. It's never going to happen, but imagine the scenes if I somehow got to #1 again. But the thing is, Dan, what would you rather have? A couple of game weeks at #1, like I did, or a record as good as yours? If anyone doesn't know who Dan is, he's one of the greatest FPL managers of all time. If you look him up on the leaderboards, he's sitting about 3rd or 4th in the all-time leaderboards. I think he's got 9 top 10k finishes. Or did you get 10 after last season, Dan? Yeah, I mean, I can't help but just applause Dan's record. I think he's genuinely one of the greatest managers that's ever played. Maybe second after Fabio Borges. But yeah, I'll be very interested to see how your drafts are shaping up, Dan, and what your initial thoughts are. Bluxy said, how do you get the new kits? I just did a refresh and it updated to the new kits. Buendia over Bruno. Thoughts on Bowen this year? I think Bowen's not bad for 8.5 mil. I was hoping he'd be 8 mil, but City in Gameweek 1's the sort of fixture where I think you just have to avoid him, because then you're totally relying on him doing something in Gameweek 2. Because realistically, what are the chances of him getting a return in Gameweek 1? Could happen, but QUYC says Buendia or Neto. How much is Buendia? So that's draft number 2. We'll come back to that. Let's go to the transfers page. We've done 2 drafts so far. The first draft was like a well-rounded draft, and the second one was premium defence. So maybe we'll try and do like a 3 premium draft. Aston Villa, Buendia, 6 mil. I suppose it depends on how Gerrard lines up this season, because he did find a way to use both Buendia and Coutinho. But, you know, if it's not working, then you wouldn't be at all surprised if he ends up sacrificing one of them in the starting 11. And I think for 6 mil, you're going to have to trust the player to start. Runak says, Oscar, nothing from Spurs. Yeah, maybe we'll try Spurs in the next draft. We're going to try and do a 3 premium draft, so we'll go to Spurs for this one. We'll get rid of Haaland. I think we'll have to get rid of some of these premium defenders because we're going to try and do like a 3 premium draft. So we'll go Son or Kane. What are we going to do? Son or Kane? Where do you guys stand on this Son and Kane debate? Obviously this season, for the first season ever, Son comes in at more than Kane. 12 mil, Kane 11.5. Son obviously got the golden boot as well. Bernardo Silva for 7 mil. Yeah, if you catch him at the right time. Last season there was that run of games where he was an excellent pick, and then he ended up getting like 1 attack in return in 10 game weeks. Son 1000% says Azza. Slippery says Son. Kane, Son. It looks very divided in the chat, to be fair. Should we do a little straw poll? Alright, I've made a little poll. Son or Kane? Let's have a look. Get your votes in. Son or Kane? Ooh. You know what? It's closer than I thought it'd be. Son's edging it. Looks like Son's just about favourite there. Get your votes and let's have a look. Son or Kane? Alvin Blocks in the chat. Welcome, Alvin. Got some big YouTubers in the chat today. Alvin says, I gave up this morning but managed to get a sub 150 ID. You beat me, Alvin. I think I'm 152 for Team ID. Congrats, Alvin. Good to see you in the Discord as well earlier. Very good ID as well. And interestingly, this season, ID does actually matter as far as rank as well. So it's actually really close in the Son and Kane debate, which is interesting considering the season that Son had. But yeah, it's a tricky one when they price Son more than Kane like that. Just making sure I didn't knock my mic out. Wouldn't be the first time. So, we'll go for Son based on the poll result. And then we've got Salah. I think you have to have Salah. I know you guys would probably want to see a draft about Salah, but let's be sensible. I think you have to go into Gameweek 1 with Salah. Hazy, welcome to the stream. How we doing? Jack says, why can't we pick our teams yet? You can. I'm doing it now. The site is up. The game is live. You can start picking your teams if you wish. Alvin says, once I saw your tweet notification, I was spamming F5. I'm glad you got that. Yeah, I thought I'd better tweet as soon as the game was updating. Kane has penalties. Yeah, good point. It's tricky this season because last season Son was a fair bit cheaper than Kane as well and ended up performing better. But yeah, this season Son's going to set you back more. Doesn't have penalties. Wouldn't surprise me if they are about even in terms of how good at FPL asset they are. But yeah, certainly it's very divided on the poll. So we've got Trent, Cancelo. I think we have to have a Chelsea defender. Another question for chat. Chilwell or James for Chelsea? Can't say both because this draft we need one, not both. Chilwell or James? Jason says, anyone not receiving the email notification? I think some people are having trouble getting it because so many people are signed up at the same time. It's probably caused a backlog on the email server. To get your FPL ID on the browser, go to pick team and then click Gameweek history, and then your ID is in the URL. It looks like it's not even close. Everyone's saying James for the most part in chat. A few people say Chilwell. QUIC's gone Chilwell. A lot of people gone James, Ludovic, Harvey, Adam, Will. Alright, we'll go James based on that. So this was a 3 premium draft. So the third premium we were going to try and squeeze in was Bruno Fernandes. And like we were saying earlier, last season he wasn't a very good FPL asset, but if Ronaldo leaves, I could honestly see Bruno having a very good season again. So we'll go to Bruno. What does everyone think about Perisic? We were wondering if he would be a defender or a midfielder, and the answer was defender. And he was cheaper than I thought. I thought he might be a 6 mil defender, but he's 5.5 mil. Seems like a really good price if he's a reliable starter. Will he be a reliable starter, or do you think Conte will rotate with Reguilon and Sessegnon? Benjamin says, why isn't anyone talking about Rudiger? Rudiger's gone. Surely he's not in the game. No, he's not. Rudiger's gone. Signed for Real Madrid, didn't he? Was it Christensen that went to Barca? Or did they both go to Barca? Yeah, Rudiger went to Real Madrid and Barca signed Christensen. So yeah, Chelsea are pretty light as far as defenders. They'll certainly sign a defender or two this window. And we did see Reece James playing right centre-back in the back three last season a bit. Tuchel said that was to help preserve him. Maybe that's something we see a bit again this season, which could reduce his appeal in attack, but yeah, I'd be speculating. Mothgel says, Perisic is 100% in my team. Perisic rotation risk, Christian says. Austin's got Perisic. Good to see lots of fplfocal members in the chat. Appreciate you all being here. If anyone's interested in becoming a member, it supports the channel massively, and it's like a couple of quid. And you get access to a private channel on the Discord where I post videos early, etc. And you get a little badge by your name and some goodies like that. Same for in videos. Reguilon's not an option, likely to be moved. Yeah, I imagine he'll be a complete non-option because that's where Perisic has been signed to play. But I just wonder if there'll be any rotation. Maybe Sessegnon, not Reguilon. So Tango says, what formation? Good question. So I think it'll be a 4-4-2. So we'll get rid of Greenwood. Let's try Tony. So we need another cheap striker, really. Any suggestions for cheap forwards? I think we've got 5.5 to 6 mil to spend here. Yashraj says, thoughts on Jesus? Yeah, I was actually surprised that he came in at 8 mil. I think if there's any more than that, then you just have to go for Saka for the same price. But it is tempting now for the same price, 8 mil. You know, maybe one of Martinelli or the other mids establish himself as an option, so you could even double up. But considering the lack of forwards, I don't hate Jesus as an option for 8 mil. And I imagine he's been signed with assurances that will be first choice. Undav, yeah, okay, we'll try Undav. Brighton's new signing, 5.5 mil. There we go. So that leaves us with 13.5 for 3 spots. So Tomiyasu or White? I think we're chucking an Arsenal defender. I think you can't overlook these Arsenal fixtures, especially when you can get a defender for 4.5 mil. Tomiyasu or White? Sanket says Jimenez. I don't know about Jimenez for 7 mil. It seems like a lot to pay, considering that Wolves were really poor last season in attack. Last season your ID was 26. Unbelievable ID. Last season mine was, I think it was like 706. And Mbumo, yeah. The thing with Mbumo was, he was 5.5 mil, right? And then he got reclassified to a 6 mil striker. So he's gone up, and he didn't really do much to impress or justify the price tag, in my opinion. Tomiyasu. Okay, we'll go Tomiyasu. There we go. So that leaves us with 9 mil for 2 spots. So we could go another 4.5. Any other 4.5 mil defender suggestions? Trying to think which defenders we have now. I actually tweeted yesterday about some of the defenders that caught my eye. So let me see if I can find that. This was it. Yeah, I mean, this season, the defenders are ridiculous. There's so many options. Trent Robertson, Cancelo, great options. Van Dijk, I don't hate him for 6.5. James and Chilwell, I think, honestly, you could double up here. Diaz, 6 mil, not a bad alternative to Cancelo. Laporte, we didn't know what he was going to be, but the answer was 6 mil there. Perisic, 5.5. Dunk, Henry, Kilman, even Justin or Pereira. So many good 4.5 mil options. Tarkowski's 4.5 mil. Yeah, but it's Everton, isn't it? Surely not Everton. Everton defenders. Johnny. Okay, Johnny. Let's try Johnny. Leaves us with 4.5 mil for midfielders. Has anyone taken a look at midfielders yet and worked out there's only 4.5 mil mids that might get minutes? I can't see any here. I don't think Lokonga will break into the starting 11 this season yet. Still a youngster. Looked a bit of a raw talent last season. Murphy maybe, but I think he could even play in wing back, not midfield. So yeah, a bit of a shame that he's a midfielder. If anyone wants the league code, it's pinned. That should be the code for the fplfocal mini league. Let me just check I've done it right, and that people can join. Yeah, we got loads. Oh, we got loads. There's already hundreds in there. Yeah, if you want to join the mini league, just go to leagues in the app or the browser, and then join private league, and then it's the pinned message with the code. Colback, Murphy. Yeah, Colback obviously is not going to be shown here because he didn't get any minutes last season, so no points. Is he going to play much this season, Colback? Are Forest going to go into this season with Colback as a starter mid? I think he actually played in wing back a fair bit as well, but that might have been due to lack of wing backs at Forest. Reed. Don't know anything about Reed. This is not. Yeah, this is Harrison Reed, not Decordova Reed. They've got two Reeds. Is Harrison Reed going to play? Hipster says email not coming through. Yeah, if anyone's having trouble with the email, I think because so many people are signing up right now, the emails just aren't coming through. Or there's a backlog that they're getting through. So, yeah, I think you just have to wait for the email to come. Might take a minute. Is Reed going to play? I mean, 4.5 mil. Jaron says, how did you get the new kits? I just refreshed and the kits were updated. I did Control F5, which does like a full refresh in your browser. So I quite like that. That's the 3 premium draft. Let's go make transfers. So it would be... The problem is you've got Undav Gameweek 1 against Man United, so I think you have to start Johnny. In fact, I forgot about Tony. We could probably squeeze Tony in here instead and go Johnny first on bench. Undav second. I actually quite like that. So we'll move Bruno there, so we've got the premiums next to one another. What do we think? 3 premium draft. Oh, we've got Gale, that's the problem. So it'd be 5-4-1 like that. Undav there. Again, all these drafts we've done so far, the problem is the bench is quite light and you've just got one option to rotate on. The code is correct, good. Delia in the chat, how are we doing, Delia? Walker 5 mil is good. Maybe, it's hard to say. If we get close to Gameweek 1 and City haven't signed any fullbacks, then I would say yes, but I think they almost certainly will sign 1, maybe 2. And Max says that's grim. You don't like the draft? We'll just recap the other drafts we did. This was the all-round draft. This kind of, the idea here was it was a bit more rounded. So we got 2 premiums instead. We got some premium defenders. We've got the 8 mil midfielder and Diaz. That was the first draft we did. And then the second draft we did was the premium defence draft. I actually really like this draft. Rashford, probably a placeholder for perhaps another player, unless he impresses in pre-season and it becomes clear that he's the first choice. Pre-season has already started. Some teams have already started playing pre-season games. Neto's already scored once in pre-season. I think he got an assist as well. So he's a good shout for 5.5 mil if he keeps it up. I don't think Man United have played any pre-season games yet. But yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they line up. Particularly with Ronaldo on indefinite leave. So, I don't know. Is it going to be Martial up top? With Sancho and Rashford either side? Onky Onky says, love the name, Saka will absolutely kill it this season. I don't disagree. He's been getting better and better every season. Incredible talent, and I wouldn't be surprised if he scores even higher. Dilly says, the first draft is a thing of beauty. Yeah, we've already done 3. We're smashing through the drafts here. So this was the premium defence draft. What do you guys think of it? I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Maybe Rashford and Martinelli could be problems. But you've got a lot of players here that are just basically locks. So you don't have to change around. And that's something I always try to aim towards in my team. Because if you've got like a backbone of your team, then you don't have to think about changing those players. And realistically, look at this. The entire defence, Salah and Haaland, you probably wouldn't even have to change. So it's just these 3 that you might have to change. So I like this draft a lot. It feels strong. And we've got Bruno G on the bench as well. Tom Hinds liked the all-round one best. First draft is the best, says John and Albin as well. Alright, we'll go back to the first one, the all-round draft. Does anyone ever get a bit OCD with the formation and how they're lined up? Or is it just me? I like to do it like this. So you go most expensive to cheapest. I'm probably the only one that does this. So that's in order. Cheapest, most expensive to cheapest. Trent, Cancelo, James, Cash. And then it would be like that. Please tell me I'm not the only one that gets OCD with things like kit colours or, you know, the order that the bench is in, the starting 11's in. There we go, like that. Perfect, looks even better now. Safe team. KVGan says, I do that. Tomoda says, I do that too. And Lara says, I do that. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that. I think it'll be Vice Captain Haaland. Yeah, I really like this draft. I think this is a really, really strong draft. There's very, very few weak points here. To me, the only weak points really are whether Martinelli and Neto are actually good options come Game Week 1. And on the bench, you've just got Tomiyasu. But it's really well-rounded. Perhaps we'll go back to this draft because I think you could make a few tweaks. Maybe you could go Jesus down to a cheaper forward and Martinelli back up. So let's try that. Just going to put them side by side so we get them lined up correctly. So it was Trent, Cancelo, James. We had Matty Cash. Do you think Matty Cash or Trippier? Should we try Trippier instead? It's a really good Game Week 1 fixture. Nottingham Forest at home for Trippier. And as we were saying before, if you look at defenders and sort it by points per match, Trippier was actually up there. You know, you've obviously got the premiums ahead of him. Your Chilwells, Trent, Robbo, Cancelo, etc. But Trippier, 4.7 points per match was what he scored last season, which is very respectable for a defender. So we'll try Trippier for now, and we'll see if we can chuck in a 5th defender that rotates with him. Trim says no Spurs cover. Yeah, that's the thing. It's really tricky because Spurs have such a good Game Week 1 fixture to the point that Son and Kane are genuine captain options. But they have Chelsea in Game Week 2, and obviously you have to look long term. And I don't think I like the idea of going Son and Kane or Kane in Game Week 1 and then moving them on in Game Week 2. I think you're better off just saving that transfer, looking elsewhere. Ben Nixon says, team looks great off Oscar, but no Spurs, so I've already mentioned. Yeah, well, exactly that. It's difficult because I think you want to have Haaland or KDB because they've got the better longer term fixtures. I mean, look at that. How can you not have a City attacker for that? And then likewise, how can you not have Salah? So therefore, how do you fit Son or Kane in, right? Is Leeds away a good game for Pedence? How much is he? I know that Neto's been the more popular pick. Is he the same price? He's also 5.5. Interesting. But I mean, he's never been particularly impressive, has he? His best scoring season was 2021, where he scored 3 times. Not that Neto's is much better. I think he only scored 5, but he also got 8 assists. And obviously last season he missed a big chunk of it with an injury. Right, so we had Diaz here. Up top we had Haaland. Haaland in. Gabriel Jesus we had in as well, but we're going to take him back out. Maybe drop him down to a Tony and see if we can find a more expensive mid than we had, because we had Martinelli. So the third forward was Gale, which leaves us with 12 mil. So 12 mil to spend on 2 mids. Where do we go from there? I think that's a 7.5 mil and a 4.5 mil, isn't it? Is that maths correct? Kulusevski, interesting shout. Yeah. I don't think we can afford him. That's the problem with this. I think we're going to be 0.5 over. Yeah, that leaves us with 4 mil to spend. Thing with Kulusevski as well is they've signed Richarlison, and it's unclear what impact he'll have on the front three. Whether he'll be getting more starts and Kulusevski perhaps less so. But he was really impressive. You know, only 1,200 minutes, 5 goals, 9 assists. Had an immediate impact. Adjusted straight away to the physicality of the league. Obviously, he's a really big player, Kulusevski, so I think that helped him a lot, where other players like Mora and Bergwijn have struggled. Delia says, I don't really trust Tony without Eriksen. Yeah, it's a fair question. What impact will Eriksen's departure have on Tony's output? Because Tony was, he did a lot better after Eriksen's arrival. His points per game went way up, and he was putting in some good performances. I think he even got a brace or a hat-trick around Gameweek 20. I think it was against Burnley. If anyone's not a member of the fplfocal Discord, I'll chuck a link in the chat. Really useful FPL resource. We've got things like the price changes, lineups, live scores, bonus points and whatnot. And there's always polls like captain polls, and obviously once the season's underway we've got the insider trading bot as well, which is a really cool one. That tracks the moves that players and staff make at clubs that they represent. So yeah, if you're not a member, links in the chat there. FPL and Koshi says, hi Oscar, missed you from the USA. I missed you all too. It's good to be back. It's been about 5 weeks since the last stream. But surprisingly not too rusty. Getting back on the bike here. So yeah, it's good to have you all here. If you are enjoying the stream, please do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I was tuning into FPL Mate's stream earlier, and I really sympathise because he streamed for 5 straight hours and then he stopped, and then like an hour later the game launched. So I sympathise with Dan. I don't know if he's live at the moment, but I'm sure he'll be back this evening. Probably wants to have some dinner first. It's been a long old day in the FPL world. I was starting to think FPL wouldn't even launch today, because last season it launched at about midday. But yeah, official FPL being very suspicious. They hadn't tweeted anything for about 5 or 6 hours, and normally they tweet loads, so I did wonder if something was up. Kane over Haaland, in my opinion, says Lewis. What do you guys in chat think? Kane or Haaland for Game Week 1? They're very interesting price points, and I do like that they cost the same, because it gives you that option to go from one to the other if, for any reason, they don't work out. I think they're both going to work out, in honesty. It's just a question of which one does even better. Right, let's carry on with this draft. So Kulusevski's too expensive, so we got 12 mils. So if we chuck in a 4.5 mil mid, right, 4.5 mil midfielders, 4.5 mil. We'll just chuck in Murphy for now. So that leaves us with 7.5 mil. Any suggestions for 7.5 mil? Haaland, obviously. Kumbi says Kane. Noah says, what does FPL ID mean? FPL ID, every team or every manager has a unique ID. So the very first manager who signed up will have an ID of 1, and then it just goes up accordingly. So yeah, every manager just has a unique ID basically. And this season, IDs will actually have a small impact on your rank as well. So if you're not signed up, go do that. Come back to the stream. Because this season, the tiebreaker, if you're tied on points with someone, is transfers made. And then beyond that, the tiebreaker is team ID. And likewise, FPL do weekly and monthly prizes. And the tiebreaker for that is team ID. Transfers are ignored in the tiebreaker for the prizes. So yeah, you want to get a good ID. You want to go sign up. So the suggestions were Rashford. Oh, Coutinho is a good shout. Let's go Coutinho. Chuck Coutinho in. Yeah, I quite like Villa's fixtures. Not bad for the opening 4. And then by the time we get to Gameweek 5, there's going to be an option to move him on to someone else. And there'll be loads of options in that price bracket. Yeah, not bad fixtures. Bournemouth away, not bad. Everton at home, I like that. Palace away could be tough. West Ham at home. West Ham a lot better at home than on the road. So I like Coutinho as an option as well. Zaha. The problem with Zaha, he's a great price, but Palace's fixtures are just awful. Let's take a look at the ticker again, which was as follows. And obviously, look at Palace's opening fixtures. They've got Arsenal at home, and then Liverpool away, and then they've got Aston Villa at home. Not bad, but then they've got City away. So it's really 3 tough fixtures in the opening 4. So I don't know if we can count on Zaha, but beyond that, I think he's a good option from Gameweek 5 onwards. And they've got Brentford, Newcastle, Man United, Brighton, Chelsea could be a tough one, Leeds. So I think that's going to be the way to go. So that leaves us with exactly 0.5. So we actually have 0.5 in the bank as well. So we could do Raya to Mendy, could do Trippier to Perisic perhaps. But like I was saying earlier, with Trippier, in Gameweek 3 he has City, in Gameweek 5 he has Liverpool. So basically you need a defender that rotates there, which Johnny doesn't. He has Tottenham in Gameweek 3. So we need a 5 mil or a 4.5 mil defender that can rotate with Trippier. Odegaard's not a bad shout for the midfields. We'll leave Coutinho for now, and then we'll see how it looks once we fill this last spot. We could either do a 5 mil defender and it's done, or a 4.5 mil defender and then Raya up to Mendy. What do we reckon? Maybe up to Mendy in goal. We haven't actually put any Brighton defenders in, and Dunk's a really good price, but who has he got in Gameweek 3 and 5? So that's an option. Not the best fixture, West Ham away, but Fulham away in Gameweek 5. That actually works. That's not bad at all. Let's see how that looks after we confirm that. So we'd go 4-4-2. But is that better or worse? What do you think? To the original one. Gabriel from Arsenal. That's a good shout. We actually didn't have any Arsenal defenders in this one. So we could do White or Tomiyasu or Gabriel. I really like Mendy for 5 mil though. I can really see myself going into Gameweek 1 with Mendy. I mean, look at the fixtures for Chelsea. Unbelievable run of fixtures. And obviously this season he won't have AFCON, so he should be completely nailed. So I really like Mendy for 5 mil. We've actually got the Gameweek 1 clean sheet odds. Very, very early look at them. City and Man United. I don't know about Man United. We'll have to see. It's not a bad fixture at home, but City 48.5%. Do you agree with that? Or is that a bit generous for Man United? Brighton at home, Gameweek 1. Didn't Brighton smash United at Old Trafford last season? 3 or 4-0. Tottenham 47% chance. Yeah, I don't mind the Tottenham defence at all. It's just a shame that Lloris is 5.5 mil. I was hoping that he'd be 5 mil, like Mendy and Ramsdale. But I think he's probably a non-option for 5.5. preferred the first version. I think I did as well. I'm trying to remember how we had it now. So we had Jesus up top, didn't we? And then I think we had Martinelli. Might be the best draft we've done, so we'll go back to that and see how it comes out. We got 5 mil for that last defender spot. I'm trying to remember who we had now. I think we had Tomiyasu, didn't we? Was it that? It might have been something like that. That's the well-rounded draft. I quite like that. We'll just shuffle this around. You go there, cancel it there, do it in order. Make it nice and presentable. So OCD with the prices and positions. I've seen some people do it colour-based as well. So it's like symmetrical. Does anyone do that? Symmetrical draft. So Murphy, Salah, Diaz there, Martinelli there, there. What is this music getting to now? Scraping the barrel on the copyright-free playlist from Harris Heller. Might have to start it from the top, because if it starts playing some copyright music, then that'll be bad. There we go. Boom, perfect. How long have we been live? What, an hour and a half? Are you joking? Could have played a match of football. Instead, we've been tinkering with our Gameweek 1 draft, which will probably change infinitely times before Gameweek 1. But I really like this draft. What do you guys think? Might be the best one we've done. Salah captain, Haaland vice. We've still got Diaz. I think for many managers, it's going to be a question of Diaz or Robertson for the third Liverpool spot. I think you have to have Salah and Trent. It's just who's the better third Liverpool player, Diaz or Robertson. What do you guys think in chat? Robertson or Diaz for the third Liverpool spot? In my opinion, you really want to triple up on Liverpool. I think there's some great value there beyond Salah. It's just a question of whether you double up Trent and Robbo or you go Diaz. I think Nunez is probably in a void. Well, I'll wait and see how he starts. I was hoping this question won't come up. Ben Nixon says, have you postponed your date? I did. I messaged her. Basically, I told her... Oh my god, I accidentally almost messaged her then. It was doing voice to text. Let me close the app. That would have been bad if I was telling the story and it did voice to text. I almost dug myself the deepest hole in dating history. Yeah. To be fair, she was understanding, and we're going to meet on Thursday instead, probably. Yeah, she was actually surprisingly supportive, considering we hadn't even been on a date yet. Declan Rice for 5 mil. It's not a bad price, 5 mil. What's he been priced at typically, historically? 5.5 mil, I think. If he plays further forward, but obviously defensive mids, historically a no-go. He's always been 5, to be fair. Yeah, I don't think he justifies it. I think there's going to be a 4.5 mil that emerges that can probably score the same. So I think Rice is a no-go. Ben says, surely she knows FPL comes first. She knows, yeah. She knows what I do, and that FPL is my job, or YouTube. And I explained it's one of the biggest days of the year, and she was well supportive, to be fair. We haven't been on a date yet. Nketiah, what about him? Nketiah is an absolute no-go with the signing of Jesus. He'll be first choice for Arsenal. I'd be amazed if we get to the point where Nketiah becomes an option. I think either Jesus would have to be injured, or he'd have to be so poor. Kev says marry that girl. I haven't even met her, to be fair. Hopefully she looks like her pictures. Can't go wrong, can you? She's a 10 and supports the FPL. She's a keeper. She's a midfielder. Really like Nico Williams. How much is Nico? To be honest, I think Nico is probably going to be third choice right back for Liverpool. Gomez did a decent job. Where's Gomez? Oh, there he is. Yeah, Gomez did a decent job in right back towards the end of last season when Trent was being rotated. So I think Nico is probably third choice, unless he's signing for someone else that I don't know about. Will he be on pens? I don't know if Jesus will take pens or not. Good question. Last season, Saka took most of them towards the end of last season. But I think in Gameweek 38, Arsenal won a pen and Martinelli took it. So it's really hard to say who's going to take pens for Arsenal. What we'll do a very, very early Gameweek 1 captain poll, because I'm going to be interested to know where you guys are leaning at the moment. I put this together earlier, actually, in anticipation of going live. So I'll chuck the link in the chat and let's see the results. Save changes. Results. All right. Everyone go vote on that. I know it's very early to ask who's your captain for Gameweek 1, but I'm interested to know if people are going to be going for Son or Kane, because they have a very, very good fixture against Southampton at home. Salah has Fulham away, really good fixture. And likewise, De Bruyne or Haaland, not bad, but West Ham away. West Ham not too bad at home. They have upset teams before. Is that the wrong link? Oh. Back to poll. Oh, there we go. Sorry, there you go. That's the correct link. Try that. Yeah, that works now. The new one should work. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, we've got the live results on. So let's see where everyone's currently leaning for Gameweek 1 captaincy. I'm surprised it's completely dominated by Salah. 75%, roughly. Yeah, sorry, I got the link wrong there. It should be the right link now. Yeah, to be fair, it's about what we expected. It's pretty much everyone's going Salah. Looks like his effective ownership could be through the roof, Gameweek 1. I won't do a poll for this, but I've got a question for chat. Who's going to be the top goal scorer this season? Last season, Son surprised us by tying it with Salah. 23 goals, I think it was. Who gets the golden boot this season? Son or Salah again? Or can Kane step up? Haaland? Will Haaland have an immediate impact? Superstar says Fernandes is the best captain. Yeah, I didn't even have Fernandes on there. Fahad says Kane for the golden boot. In fact, we've got two Fahads. What are the chances of that? One Fahad says Kane and the other Fahad says Haaland. Battle of the Fahads. James says Kane. Josh says Kane. Pepti reckons Son. Yoshi reckons it'll be Haaland. Cows and Holes says Lukaku. Hopak says Salah again. Lewis says Salah with no AFCON 100%. Yeah, like we were saying earlier, it's easy to get recency bias with FPL. And last season, no doubt, Salah had a disappointing second half of the season. But in the first half of the season, he returned in all but one of the opening 17 game weeks. He was honestly the best player in the world for the first half of last season. You can't really dispute it. He was just phenomenal. In the opening 17 game weeks, he had something like, what was it, like 16 goals and 8 assists or something bonkers. And he'll have no AFCON this season, so I wouldn't be surprised if Salah has another very, very strong season. So, yeah, he's an absolute lock for my Gameweek 1 team. I think Trent is as well. Haaland, maybe. We'll have to see how they do in pre-season. Naked Fish says Werner for the golden boot. I'll be amazed. If Werner gets the golden boot, I'll shave my head on the stream. Best 5.5 mil striker. Good question. 5.5 mil strikers. I know Undav's a very popular one. New signing for Brighton. They signed him from Royal Union, which, to be fair, is the Belgian league. Mark Wakefield says, how do you always sound like you're reading a script? I assure you there's no script. Does it even sound like that when I'm live? So when I do my videos, I always write up a script first because I want to get my point across like concisely. I want to say exactly what I mean. and I want to spend as little time as possible editing, because editing's the boring part. I like doing the recording and then getting it out there. So I write up scripts for my videos, but yeah, certainly these streams are not scripted. Imagine scripting 2 hours of live chat, and all the questions I've taken so far are just planted questions. It's all scripted. Solyok says Undaf is on my team. Yeah, so at Royal Union, as we were saying, I think he scored something like 26 goals in 26 games, so definitely one I'm keeping an eye on. It's just whether he becomes first choice or not, or whether he struggles like many forwards have when they've come from the Belgian league. Delia says, to be fair, in reality, you sound a bit different. Yeah, definitely I do. For these, I'm like almost shouting to talk clearly into the mic. Delia met me at a couple of the FPL meetups now. I'm going to be going to the next FPL Fest. I don't know if you're going to that, Delia, but yeah, I don't talk like I do in streams in person, to be fair. I'm low-key relieved that FPL launched today and not last week, because last week I got back from Glasgow and I was absolutely dead. I needed days to recover. I was hanging. I didn't have my voice back either. Still haven't totally got it back, but I'm over the COVID, which is good. Hi, Focal. Thoughts on starting with Cash? Yeah, I like the Cash pick. We were looking at him earlier. I don't know if I can pull this up or not, but on Fantasy Football Scout, I've got some tables. I don't know if I'm allowed to share this or not. In the members area, you can build like custom tables, and I will show it. And I built a table for defenders, and I've built tables for like midfielders and forwards. And this has like loads of useful stats here, like expected goal involvement, chances created, crosses, corners, touches, final third, shots, or whatever. And you can see Cash is up there for expected goal involvement last season, 5.8. And you look at the names that are above him, you know, it's the likes of Robbo, James, Cancelo, Trent, some of the big names. So I quite like Cash as an option, and the fixtures aren't bad either. Martinelli or Ødegaard? I think Martinelli between the two. Jesus or Havertz? Havertz is an interesting one. We've not seen him mentioned yet. So he's been reclassified as a forward. And I think he's 8 mil as well, which is disappointing. I think that's the same price he was last season. So we could do a straight swap. Go Havertz. Because again, Chelsea's fixtures aren't bad either. I think one of Mount or Havertz, or both, could do very well over the opening 7 or so game weeks. Great fixtures. But who's better between Havertz and Mount? You'd probably say Mount for the same price in midfield, wouldn't you? But yeah, with Lukaku obviously going back to Inter on loan, maybe Havertz will be the first choice forward. I saw Ronaldo was being linked with Chelsea, but I don't think there's any way Man United allow that to happen. Surely not. Cash is in your draft. Thoughts on Man United players like Sancho? Yeah, we were talking about them a bit earlier, because obviously the Man United players have all been cut in price heavily. Sancho 7.5, Rashford 6.5, Fernandes 10 mil. Ronaldo probably not an option. He's on indefinite leave due to personal reasons, whatever that means. Obviously, it's been rumoured that he wants to leave Man United for Champions League football. But yeah, Rashford for 6.5, Sancho 7.5. Wasn't a very good debut season for Sancho, but I'm sure he'll do way better this time round. 3 goals, 4 assists, but we've seen what Rashford's capable of. Before last season, 174 and 177 points, so I like both Rashford and Sancho, so we'll have to see how they do. Abdi says, did you see Leon Bailey's price? I didn't actually. How much is he? 5 mil. Interesting. Yeah, last season he was really in and out of the side, so it wasn't much of an option. But yeah, again, if he establishes himself in the starting 11, he'll be a great option. Seems to be quite an injury-prone player based on last season. If you guys are enjoying the stream, before I forget, please do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Tons and tons of pre-season content to come. As soon as the stream wraps up, I'll probably start on the next pre-season video. I'm thinking about doing one on players to avoid. What do you think? I think that'd be a good video to start with. Laporte or Diaz? That's a really good question. Who are you guys siding with, Laporte or Diaz? I'd say they're actually about on par, in my opinion. Perhaps it depends on what happens with Ake. He's being linked to some clubs, but I think City said they're not going to sell Ake unless they sign a replacement first. Ake's sort of the competition for Laporte, and Stones is the competition for Diaz. Last season, Laporte ended up the better pick. The season before it was Diaz, so it could go either way, to be honest, and they're the same price. Do you think it's worth the price cut for Diaz or Laporte over Cancelo? Cage Pap says, your first full-time season, feeling any extra pressure? No, to be fair, not really. I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's a dream come true to do FPL content as a full-time job. Yes, I'm very grateful for the position I'm in. And I think as long as you're making good content, it doesn't matter if you have an off season. But I've never really had a particularly poor season. Like, I'll share my rank history on these streams. It always rotates in the bottom right corner. You know, I'm not at the elite level of some of the managers like Dan Bennett, who we had earlier. He's got, I think, 9 or 10 top 10k finishes. But no, as long as I keep making good content, it's not going to be a problem. And to be fair, I'm always going to have the tagline on my Twitter bio that says former number one. So I've always got that to bang on about as well. Got the screenshot here somewhere. Here it is. You know what, I need to get this framed because what a screenshot. Even though I completely choked it, what a screenshot, right? And that was for 2 game weeks. It was 10 game weeks in the top 2 last season and 2 game weeks at number 1 before I completely choked it. Yeah, the second half of last season was very frustrating, but yeah, it's ancient history now. It's another season. There we go. So yeah, I think this is the best draft we've done. It's kind of like the well-rounded draft. We've got the premium defence, we've got 2 premiums and Salah and Haaland. We've got Jesus. You could drop Jesus down to a cheaper forward like Tony and upgrade Martinelli. Botman's 4.5 mil, is he? Okay, interesting. He's Newcastle's new signing, right? Brentford schedule, very attractive. Yeah, I agree. Love the Brentford schedule. I like Tony. I like Raya in goal. Interestingly, among the goalkeepers, Raya is actually up there in terms of points per game last season. If you go to goalkeepers, change it to 5 mil. I don't know if anyone didn't know this, you can do points per match, which is a really useful metric because it shows you what players actually get per appearance last season. Which is useful because someone could play the entire season, 90 minutes every game, and have high total points, or a player could miss some games, like Raya did, and have good points per match. And Raya obviously picked up that injury last season, so he missed some games. But he got 4 points per start, which is the same as Ramsdale for an extra 0.5. And you look above that, it's Stefan, Kepa and Begovic, and these guys only made cameos. They weren't regular starters. That said, I still think Mendy's probably the better pick. 3.8 points per match, there's not much in it. And obviously it was an off-season for Chelsea. Yeah, Gale and Murphy, I don't expect them to play at all. They're kind of just placeholders until we find a better option. I don't know if there's any other 4.5 mil options in midfield. Not Colback, is there anyone? Someone mentioned Reed earlier. I don't know much about Reed or what his chances are of playing. I noticed we've actually got 0.5 in the bank. I thought we'd spend it all. Is that right? Yeah. So you could actually go Reed to a 5 mil mid. Are there any 5 mil mids that caught your eyes? Someone mentioned Rice, but I don't know if I want a defensive mid. I think Rice is a no-go. I'm actually not opposed to going into the season with 0.5 more in the bank either. I did that last season, and it came in really handy because you basically have protection against any price rises or price drops for players you own. But yeah, I've only got last season to use as an example of that working out. But yeah, last season it was really useful to have the extra 0.5, so I'm not opposed to going into Gameweek 1 without spending my entire 100 mil. Brendan's got 1 mil in the bank. Oh, Brendan, sorry, I missed that, Brendan. Thank you for becoming an fplfocal member. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you. If anyone's interested in becoming a member, it's the join button below the stream. You get a little badge by your name. And on the fplfocal Discord, there's a private channel where you get early access to my videos. And I'm online every day chatting. So if you're interested, it supports the channel. And it's a couple of quid. Willock, Elanga, yeah, good shouts actually. Yeah, imagine if Elanga smashes it in pre-season and looks like he'll be first choice for Man United for only 5 mil. He'll be an absolute game breaker. Doesn't look bad at all, does it? With Duncan, Elanga on the bench. You could even put Elanga first. But of course, we're going to have to see how pre-season plays out and whether Elanga is actually an option or not. But yeah, that'd be amazing. Bit crazy last season, the money they spent on Sancho, and Elanga ended up starting ahead of him in some games and getting lots of minutes. But I think this is going to be a much better season for Man United as a whole, and certainly the assets like Elanga, Sancho, Rashford. Finn Morris says, not worried about James being centre-back again. It is a concern. Last season he did play in the right at the back three, and it could happen again. But to be fair, last season Tuchel said he was doing that to preserve him because they were very light. They had a few injuries and it was the tail end of the season when they were juggling a few competitions. So yeah, I don't know if we'll see that as much, not initially, but it depends on Chelsea's transfer window as well, because yeah, they are lacking centre-backs. Did your first draft today? No Spurs players because you're a gooner or because you just fancy them, Perisic for example. No, to be fair, this is one thing I've always tried to do, is put club bias aside. I am an Arsenal fan, but I won't let it influence my picks. As best I can anyway. Maybe like subconsciously it does, but I definitely won't look past someone like Son or Kane. And even if I think Son or Kane's the best captain in, and they're playing Arsenal, I'd captain them. I'd feel dirty doing it, but I've done it with Salah before. I don't do it often, to be fair, because it tends to be better picks than whoever's playing Arsenal. But I've captained Salah against Arsenal before, and it's come off. And you do feel dirty when it comes off, but you have to put your bias aside when it comes to FPL. Arjun, thank you so much for becoming an fplfocal member as well. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Arjun. Tango says, who are going to be City's fullbacks? It will be Cancelo, obviously. And then the second one's up for debate. At the moment, it'll be Walker, but City are being linked with Cucurella, so it could be Cucurella and Walker rotating. I won't be surprised if they make a second signing, because obviously Mendy's... Is he in jail or something or other? He was arrested. Won't go into that, but Mendy's obviously not an option either. So they're pretty light in terms of fullback positions, which makes Cancelo all the more appealing. But I do wonder who they'll sign and how much they'll rotate. Greenwood going cheap. Is Greenwood in the game? I guess he's not, because he's not going to be in the squad, is he? No. Yeah, someone mentioned Pereira earlier. I think it was Raptor when he was here. If he signs for Fulham and he's a starter for 4.5 mil, he could be a gem. And that's something we'll have to keep an eye out in pre-season, whether or not some 4.5 mil mids emerge, because at the moment it looks like there's not many. It's slim pickings. Maybe that's why they brought down the price of some players from what we thought they'd be, because they've made the 4.5 mil mids more or less non-options, and likewise the 4 mil defenders. Whereas in previous seasons, we've ended up sport for choice with options there. Even in goal, like last season, you had Foster in goal. There were a bunch of 4.5 mil mids. I don't think there are any 4.5 mil forwards. They're a bit more of a rarity. But yeah, last season there were quite a few options, and it was easy to build a team in that respect. So I think they've just shaped the pricing a bit differently. But I have to say, this does look like a very strong Gameweek 1 draft already. I think Havertz, I'd probably change him back to Jesus. What do you guys think? Jesus or Havertz for the same price up top? Maybe like that. It's a really strong draft. Alistair, thank you for becoming a member as well. Thanks so much for the support this stream. I think we must have had like 6 or 7 brand new members. I did cancel all memberships last season because I thought it's only fair as the season was over. So thank you for the support already. It means a lot. And if you link your Discord to your YouTube account, you'll get access automatically to the private channel for the members. I was thinking about doing a Darwin draft. Do we call him Darwin or Nunez? 8 mil. Is he 8 mil or 9? No, he's 9, isn't he? But I think, honestly, you have to have Salah, Trent, and then one of Robbo and Diaz as your 3 Liverpool. I think he's one to watch for now. Solanke, it's not a bad shout. Is he actually going to be a good option, though? He's never really impressed in the Premier League before. The J in Jesus is pronounced like the J in Jota, so it's just Jesus, not Jesus. Jota, Jesus. Incredible turnout to the first stream of the season. Thank you so much everyone that has tuned in. If you're enjoying the stream, do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Loads and loads of pre-season content to come, so make sure you don't miss out on that. Oh yeah, the Nottingham Forest striker. How do you say his name though? Awoniyi. I think he's 6 mil, or is he 5.5? Yeah, again, among the forwards this season, there's really a lack of options. Is he a new signing? Obviously, I know about Brennan Johnson. I think he got like 16 goals, 10 assists in the Championship. But I actually don't know anything about this guy. Oh, they signed him from Union Berlin. Okay. Last season he scored 15 in the Bundesliga. Interesting. We'll chuck him in for now. We'll give him the opportunity. Thank you, Adam Chin, as well, for becoming an fplfocal member. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate the support very, very much. Awoniyi. Pronounced Awoniyi. Okay. Opening fixtures are just too bad for the newly promoted sides. Yeah, Bournemouth especially. I think for that reason, yeah, you have to steer clear of Solanke and probably Nottingham Forest as well. I mean, Bournemouth, I think they've probably got the worst opening fixtures in the league. Yeah, Villa at home, and then it's City away, Arsenal at home, Liverpool away. So we give them the opening 4 or 5 game weeks, see if any of them look appealing, and then perhaps go there. But yeah, I think you have to steer clear. I think actually we have to take Awoniyi out. Gray or Gordon over Neto? Yeah, I was looking at Gray and Gordon, both 5.5 mil, but last season neither were particularly consistent. Gordon was an absolute gem because he was 4.5 mil, finished at 4.7, 4 goals, 3 assists. Gray, I think he put up slightly better numbers, 5 goals, 5 assists. Yeah, maybe over Neto. The thing is with Everton is you look at their Game Week 1 fixture, Chelsea at home, so you basically need to be able to rotate them out for Game Week 1. So you need a strong option you can start ahead of them, and then you can start them for these 4. But it's not ideal for 5.5 mil, really. I think it's a lot to spend to just bench them in the first game week. Oh, it's pronounced Awoniyi. Okay. Arsenal, Newcastle and Wolves have decent starts. Yeah, I agree. I quite like Johnny and Aït-Nouri. I'm not sure right now which will be firm first choice, if either. I think it'll probably be Aït-Nouri. I think Semedo's still out with an injury, so maybe both to start with. But then it's hard to say beyond that, because Johnny has played down the left, where Aït-Nouri plays. But yeah, Semedo's 50% chance of playing, so it just depends on his timeline as well. FPL official tweeted. They tweeted, create your 22, 23 FPL team now. We're well ahead there. I think what they wanted to do was launch the game and then give it an hour or two and then actually tweet that the game's up, so the game doesn't get overloaded with people trying to build their drafts. So we'll go back to Jesus. I really like this draft. I think this is a good building block. The question marks really are just Martinelli and Neto. I think Robertson is probably going to be better value than Diaz, but it's difficult to move Robertson into this team because then you're going to need another cheaper midfielder, and there's not that many. That was an excellent pronunciation, thank you. With Adama back at 5.5 mil, what do you think of him? Adama for 5.5 mil. He's always been a disappointing FPL asset, so I don't think I'll go there. Does anyone know how he did on his loan at Barca? I didn't actually keep an eye on how he was doing, but yeah, I don't think I'll be going for Traore. 128,000 players so far. Watkins over Jesus. Yeah, good shout, Arjun. Let's try that. That frees up 0.5. Yeah, I don't dislike Watkins. I also quite like Wilson for the same price. I think it's between those two as the best mid-price forward. 7.5. Yeah, the opening two aren't bad. Forest at home, Brighton away. It's just these Game Week 3 and Game Week 5 fixtures, City at home, Liverpool away. Whether you can rotate around for that or not. Because ideally you don't want to be starting him against City at home or Liverpool away. Can't really expect much there. But I like Watkins. Gives you 0.5. But where would you spend the 0.5? Are there any 6.5 mil mids that you could move Martinelli up to, perhaps? P. Macca says, good stream, Oscar lad. Respect. Thanks, Macca. Big shout out to Macca. He's often a regular in my comments. I do read every comment I get on my videos. And I do start to spot regular names. So, yeah, shout out to Macca. Ayush in the chat as well. He says Trent or Cash. Trent or Cash. I don't know why I'm reading messages from Ayush. He's obviously here to troll. But, Trent. Nah, Cash. What ID did you get, Ayush? ID's in the chat. Who got the lowest ID? Mine was, I think, 152. Can anyone top that? Interestingly, this season, IDs will actually make a minor difference to rank. The tiebreaker, if you're tied on points with someone, is transfers, but the second tiebreaker is whoever's got the lowest ID. So this season, actually, you could get to the end of the season, and having a good ID might be the difference between top 10k or not. Rashford for 6.5. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. We do have a Langer on the bench, though, so it just depends on that. Smith got an ID of 2.2k. Ronite got an ID of 69. Dara got 833. FPL Zhao got exactly 3,333 as a quality ID. That's going to be easy to remember when you chuck it into live FPL. But we don't want to have Rashford and Elanga, do we? Surely not. It's not bad though, is it? To get your ID, you go to pick team and then click on Gameweek history on the right hand side. Switch the fan on. Pretty toasty in here. Biz Hunter got an idea of 117. Is that the lowest? Umar says, oh, you got an idea of 3. And he says, not even joking. That's got to be the winner. There's no way anyone tops that. I've checked it as well, and he's not lying. Yeah, I think Umar probably wins the ID battle undisputedly. Disputedly? Yeah, his ID was 3. And it's to be fair, it says Umar here. So, yeah, I think Umar wins the ID competition with an ID of 3. Anony Moose says, thoughts on Julian Alvarez? So this is City's new signing. I'll be honest, I don't know much about Alvarez and how feasible of an FPL asset he is. But for me, he's definitely on the watch list, but not someone I'm considering for Gameweek 1. How much is he priced at? Is he here? Oh, there he is. 6.5. It's very low. But yeah, I don't know what the chances are that he becomes a regular for City. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen much of Alvarez to comment, to be honest with you. He signed from River Plate, wasn't it? I think he could play. I think he's kind of like in terms of where he can play. He's like Jesus, where he can play through the middle or right, but certainly different players. Jesus 8 mil, yeah. Surprisingly, Jesus was 8 mil, as is Saka. So, considering the lack of forwards, I think Jesus is an option, and then it frees up, or takes up a striker spot where there's a lack of strikers. Highest ID competition, Edvard wins 130-333. He must change his name to fplfocal. There we go. Verified. Anyway, we've been streaming for over 2 hours. It's flown by, to be fair. It's been fun tinkering. But I'm going to call it a day there. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. There'll be plenty more to come. Loads of pre-season content planned. So I'm going to jump into that. If you did enjoy the stream, please do hit like on it. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already. What we'll do, we'll head over to FPL Raptors stream if he's still live. Is he still live? Yeah, what we'll do, this was a kind of like an improv stream, but we'll come back and do more streams in the future with more prepared, more talking points and whatnot. But yeah, for now, thank you all for tuning into the stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're going to head over to FPL Raptors stream. Link is in the chat. If anyone's not a member of the FPL Focal Discord, that's in the description. And the Minileague code is pinned as well if you want to join the Minileague. But thank you all for tuning in. It's been a cracking stream. I've really enjoyed it. And no doubt I'll see you soon for the next one. Focal out.